Oh, very catchy music. Very catchy. I always get excited when I hear that music.
How are you tonight, sir? And we're big screen now. Look at that. Look at that.
We are big. We are big screen.
Look at that. The magic
what
of technology.
What a handsome bastard over here. Look at there.
One of
That's
us.
my mustache look. Okay. Okay. Yeah, one of us is handsome. I don't see the other one. But Sid, how are you?
Yes, I am good. I had a 1 week off. Dutch Mantell, he cheated on me and had a different co-host. You missed me?
Yeah,
I missed you too.
Oh man, I missed you badly. So, and I kept saying all during the week. I kept talking to Russo. I said, "Where's Sid? Is Sid going to be back?" He said, "Rest assured that Sid will be back if you just keep bothering." I'd hit him up every day. Like, hey, where are you? And what happened? And what happened to you? See, I'm concerned about your welfare too.
That would really warm my heart if I thought that was true. That would really warm my heart if you were really that.
Are you alleging that part of that may be a little fictitious?
I think you're working me a little bit, just a little.
Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't work people? Everybody works. Everybody else, girls work their boyfriends all the time, and the guys work the girls all the time. The bosses work their employees all the time. Same way with employees to the boss. Boss, where were you? Oh, sick. Hell, they're damn out at the bar getting drunk. That's where they were. Tell the truth. Where is truth anymore? Truth has just escaped the American scene. The world scene for that.
Yeah, the truth is it's whatever you make it.
Yeah, that is it. That is it.
There you go. Then drop some knowledge for you to start the show. But yes, we are here. We are back. Your regular Smack Talk host. Well, at least 2/3 of us. Shouts out to Rick Ucchino, who is not feeling too well. He's been through a lot this week.
Hey.
So send your loves, your support to Rick Ucchino at Rick Ucchino on all social media platforms. Send some love to Rick because he's had a tough week, so he's not here with us. So we're dedicating the show to Rick.
Good. And what is wrong with Mr. Rick?
Well, he
sick. He may be sick of us. That's what he may be sick of.
I mean, I believe he didn't do another show with me this week, so I don't know if you're on to something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
so Rick,
maybe.
We're sending well wishes to you, and I hope you're back soon.
Yes,
because I miss Rick too.
We hope Rick is back either next week or the week after. Maybe not next week because it is the holiday week. Happy Thanksgiving, early Thanksgiving to everyone. Since this is the last time we'll be seeing you before Thanksgiving, and of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to hear from all of you. We'll try to highlight some comments as we go along, especially if you send a super chat donation. But the simplest way you can help us out, drop the thumbs up on this video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, family on all your favorite social media platforms, and subscribe to the Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge YouTube channel and get a University of Dutch hat.
Stop it. Wait a minute. I'm not giving these away free. They're for profit. Profit.
Of course.
Only.
I didn't say.
Listen.
I didn't
no,
say.
You said you. Oh.
I didn't want you. Well, I don't want them to steal your hat like they stole Nana's weed.
Hey,
I don't know if you saw that. There was a promo this week with Hangman Adam Page who said he was going to beat Swerve Strickland's ass, beat his manager Prince Nana's ass, and then steal his weed.
Steal his what?
Steal his weed. Because he basically said that Nana is making a living off of Swerve's back and then going downstairs to the hotel parking lot and buying weed from a high school kid.
Oh my God. Hey, that would almost match up with AEW doing the snort at the table on their pay-per-view.
Will you stop? Will you stop?
Well, that's what they did. I loved it. And I thought about, I thought about this years ago.
AEW, it was NWA.
Oh yeah, it's NWA. but you're here to correct me. But did you see it? Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yes, they did.
I kind of liked it. It may have got him kicked off TV, but I kind of liked it anyway. So, but there's my University of Dutch hat for sale, by the way.
There you go.
And Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. Write me and I'll tell you how to get it.
And we have Raju in the live chat here with us before we get into the SmackDown review or any news notes that we need to get into. We have Raju asking, hey, Dutch, heard you and Vince were on a call recently. Tell us the story.
Okay. Can you keep anything silent in the wrestling business?
No.
And this is not Vince McMahon, which we got news about him too. This is not about Vince McMahon. This is about Vince Russo. And he was replying to a podcast that I do called Storytime with Dutch on YouTube. Go over there and please subscribe. 101,000 subscribers right now. It's not bad. So anyway, go over there. But he is replying to some comments I made, which are comments that I've heard. And he says they are not true. They are total lies. And for the sake of transparency, I said, Vince, you need to come on my podcast, Storytime with Dutch, and we'll get to the bottom of this. And you can issue your denials. But I think it'd be one of my best podcasts. And he's invited. I think he's coming on the week after Thanksgiving. So.
Very soon.
But
very soon.
Very, very good conversation with Vince. I like Vince. Vince likes me, I guess. But we will see. But I'm interested in seeing what he has to say.
Should be interesting. What comments was he responding to?
Well, it was the bra and panties match in WWF. He said he had nothing to do with that. Never had anything to do with it. And it was something else that he denied having anything to do with. But on the podcast, we'll jump headfirst into it, and we'll get to the truth. By God, one way or the other. Did you see SmackDown? Did you see SmackDown tonight?
Of course, that's our job.
Oh, okay.
What did you think about the show overall? What did you think about the show overall?
No, the show was okay. I fought with my remote almost for the first hour to get it to work. I'm glad it taped, so I had to go back. Hey, the interview with, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Santos Escobar?
Good interview.
Yeah.
A lot of noise piped in.
Yes.
But it was it was too much. But a lot of noise. But the interview and the follow through on that interview was very good. And I thought he was going to do something a little more physical to Zelina, but she left. But when she slapped him, that was good. And he left. And then here come Mr. Carlitos in there, and now we got an angle. Now we can, while Mr. Mysterio is, our Senor Mysterio is recuperating, now he can step right back into another angle. It flowed very nicely. Now they did a good job of that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of the highlight of the night, but not the main story of the show. So we'll start with that. Before we get into that, of course, once again, drop the thumbs up, sound off in the live chat, send those super chats, if you will, to send your support to what we do here. But the show kicked off with a video package recapping everything that went down with Damage Control last week with Asuka joining the ranks. And we started off with an opening segment with Damage Control in the ring. The group soaked in a bunch of boos to start off, and then Bayley said they were just there to have a good time, and she welcomed everyone to SmackDown. Bayley called the crowd dumbs and called last week's developments one of the top 5 moments in WWE history. She says that they are playing chess while the other idiots are playing Candyland, and nobody was ready for Asuka. She laughed, but the rest of the group didn't laugh. So this was once again them kind of sowing the seeds of the group is not 100% with Bayley here, as Asuka then spoke in Japanese. So did Kairi Sane and Io Sky. They both
What
laughed.
did they say?
I don't know. We won't know until it's translated. We'll find out.
But actually, that's pretty good because you put your own meaning to it. She said this. This is what she means. Yeah, I think that's make the audience work a little bit. Make them think instead of the writers doing everything. Make the audience, people watching it, make them work. I kind of like that anyway. Okay, continue. I'm listening. I missed kind of the first segment because I couldn't get my TV working. So.
Oh, okay. Well, Dakota Kai, she chimed in and said that it wasn't the new and improved damage control because there was someone in the ring who wasn't in the new damage control. The crowd reacted and was like, oh. And then Kai then said that it was actually Asuka because she wasn't in the group yet. She said they were waiting for Bayley to make it official, and Bayley got on one knee and asked Asuka to be in the group, giving her a damage control shirt. Bayley presented her with that, and the faction then celebrated when Asuka took it. And Dakota Kai mentioned how the women will be in WarGames, and they are challenging Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi to find a fourth member for their team. This started the music of Shotzi to interrupt. She appeared out of nowhere on the top rope. Her tank rolled out on its own, kind of as like a decoy, and she attacked damage control until the numbers game got the better of her. This brought out Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair, but they got beaten down, and the heels, damage control, stood tall to end this segment. So I thought it was a nice way to kind of set up the story for the rest of the show here, Dutch.
Oh, that was good. That was good because you expect somebody to run in, and sometimes you got to you got to just take it out. It doesn't happen. But see, I missed this whole part because of my cable service. I should pay the bill, I guess. But on that tank coming out by itself, I like that. What if they came out and they had a dummy in it and it looked like her, but it's not her? Same deal.
Could do that.
They should use it more. I think they should use that more with a dummy of her in it. So you think, and the lights are down low, and they attack it, and it's not her. Then all of a sudden, boom, she comes. So,
and it crashes,
continue.
and they think.
What do you think about it? Do you like it?
And then she, yeah. You put the dummy in there, and then the tank crashes, and they think she's hurt, and they go and check, and then she comes out of nowhere and attacks them. That's great. I like it.
That's good. That's good. I like it. So. They're probably watching this show, and that'll probably happen next week or in 2 weeks. What if it did happen? What would you think? What would you think?
I would love it.
And they would probably get in contact with us and say, "Oh, we had that shit planned along. Shut the hell up. You two guys don't know what's going on." Which I admit, I don't know what's going on. But sometimes I worry about, do they know what's going on too? So it could be the blind leading the blind here. Continue. I'm enjoying myself here.
Charlotte, Bianca, and Shotzi were then shown talking backstage. Shotzi apologized for being compulsive and said she really wanted to kick their butts. Bianca then turned to Charlotte and said that she thinks she knows someone who can help them, and she knows that she can make that call. Nick Aldis then walked into the frame and said he'll have to know who the fourth woman will be for the WarGames match by the end of the night. And then Bianca said that she was going to recruit. So then that led to a couple of segments throughout the show where we saw Bianca. First, she was talking to Michin. This was kind of like a non-audible segment where we just saw them talking, and then we moved on. Then when we come back from commercial break, Damage Control is standing over and beating the hell out of Michin. So there goes that. She's out of the question here. Then we see later on in the night, after Zelina Vega, the aforementioned segment with Santos Escobar, we see her in the back at the trainer's room with the LWO, and we see Bianca approach her and talk to her. We go to commercial, we come back for commercial, and Zelina Vega has been laid out by Damage Control.
The break. End the break. I mean, that Damage Control, when they want to get you, they don't waste any time.
Exactly.
So, and make sure all the cameras are gone. That's good. That takes a certain amount of knowledge to do that. But Damage Control seems to have mastered it tonight. So, okay, continue.
Doing good work here. They're doing good work here. We see Shotzi, Bianca, and Charlotte shown backstage later in the show with Bianca telling her, yeah, Charlotte, you need to go make that call. And Charlotte says she's going to make the call. Then we see right before the final segment, Belair asks Charlotte what was going on. And Charlotte said, I called her, but I don't know if she'll make it on time. And we go to the final commercial break. Out comes Charlotte, Bianca, and Shotzi, and Charlotte gets on the mic and she says that they could talk about the damage Control has done, that they were running out of time. They officially accepted their WarGames challenge. Charlotte says if she knows a little something about betraying best friends, but if they're going to war, well, there's one person that she had to call on. This interrupt by walking out and saying the faction has took down everyone, so we know that you're bluffing. And she calls Charlotte an idiot and a loser who, if she has, she doesn't have.
No, she don't have any numbers in her phone book. We all know that because you're an idiot. I like that line. That was great.
That was good. As the teams face off with Damage Control getting on the apron, this brings out none other than the man, Becky Lynch. She runs through the crowd and joins the baby faces. This leads to a huge brawl. We get Charlotte and Io attempting to do stereo moonsaults, but did not look good. Did not pan out as well as they thought it would. But a huge brawl kind of ends the show here. What did you think about all the developments to shape up the women's war games for next Saturday?
It was some good routines. It was good segments. Did it increase my interest in seeing it? No, because I hate women four ways. I just don't. I never got into it.
Well,
who was left? Yeah, that's not my. I mean, some people it appeals to some people. To me, not so much. Who was left standing? The two left out of the ring. It was Charlotte Flair and who's the other girl?
And Io Sky.
And then they started dividing, and then we went off the air. So, yeah. Pretty good show overall. Well, hey, I liked the Road Dogg on commentary.
Road Dogg on commentary. Did you like
him?
You could tell it was a very last minute decision. It felt like that from his commentary.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, who'd they have? They had Owens last week.
Kevin Owens. Yeah, Kevin Owens last week.
Okay, you think this will be a thing to have a different, commentator every week? That'd be a good deal.
Yeah, I think they should do that while Corey's on paternity leave. That would be something interesting where they can kind of rotate, see who works, see who doesn't.
So he's on paternity leave.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a baby in the picture here that I don't know about.
What happened? Him and Carmella had a baby.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what
they said last week.
I don't listen
look
to
up
that.
The baby's name. I don't think that. Yeah. They had a son. They had a son.
So you're telling me that WWE has paternity leave for guys?
I mean, he needs to help her out. This is her first child.
Well, okay, good for them.
He's a vet. He has other kids. He's a vet. So.
Well, anyway, Corey, and who's his wife? What's her name?
Carmella.
Right. I can't remember names. You know that. Congratulations. What was it, a boy or girl?
A boy.
Okay. All right. Congratulations, guys, and hope your paternity leave goes well. That's all I can say.
There you go. So
you see how nice I am sometimes.
You're so very nice, Dutch. I appreciate you for being so nice. Dutch, couple of news notes I wanted to bring up here since we talked about the women's war games being set up and Becky Lynch making that move over to the SmackDown brand to be a part of this women's war games matchup. Over on the Monday Night Raw brand, they have the men's war games, which is going to have the Judgment Days, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough versus Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. Well, that is what it is right now, because on Monday Night Raw this past week, the November 13th episode, Drew McIntyre officially turned heel after a few months of a slow burn heel turn. He turned heel, delivered a Claymore to Jey Uso, helped the Judgment Day retain the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, and then shook the hand of Rhea Ripley, seemingly joining the side of the Judgment Day going into WarGames, and that has led to numerous reports, rumors, even chants from the crowd of who the fifth member will be. We did see Cody Rhodes on this show. We don't know if he went to see Nick. We saw him outside of Nick Aldis' office, maybe going to see Nick Aldis about something. I don't know what that was all about, but we shall see. But there is the question of who this fifth member is going to be. The reports have said, Fightful has reported, Wrestling Observer has reported the same thing, that Randy Orton may be returning to be the fifth member of the WarGames team. But Cody Rhodes being on the show, maybe it's a trade-off. You get Becky on the SmackDown WarGames for the women, and maybe Kevin Owens on the Raw WarGames for the men. Who do you think should be the fifth member of Cody Rhodes' team for the men's War Games at Survivor Series?
I kind of like the Randy Orton choice because he won't be bogged down with having a great match by himself. He'll have help, and I think he'd get a great reaction. I'm gonna go with Randy Orton because he's fresh, he's new, and I think the crowd they'd pop big for him. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going with. Nobody's told me. It's a good guess.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
That's what I'd say.
It seems to be the popular choice. And speaking of choices, I know you're not watching AEW full time, but a lot has been talked about AEW. They have a big mystery surprise, quote unquote, signing for tomorrow night's AEW Full Gear that has been talked about this week after Tony Khan put out a tweet where he said this signing is one of the best wrestlers in the world, a pro that is known and respected by virtually every AEW fan. This has led to, a lot of people speculating and thinking that it was Mercedes Moné until Fightful Select put out a report saying that people within the company said that it's not Mercedes Moné. And then that led to earlier today, Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast reporting saying that Will Ospreay is the name that has been said to be the popular choice to be this surprise signing for tomorrow night's AEW Full Gear, which would be a big deal and be very interesting because WWE has been reported, has interest in Will Ospreay. He was going to be seen as one of the big free agents for the big 2024, where pretty much everyone's going to become a free agent at some point. But he's apparently, if he is the signing, he would be let out of his New Japan contract early. And PW Insider reports that New Japan has allowed Will Ospreay to negotiate with other companies and start negotiations now. So what do you think? Do you think it's going to be Will Ospreay? And do you think that is a worthy enough signing with the fact that WWE was going to go after him?
Well, I don't think every wrestling fan knows who Will Ospreay is. I mean, if you follow social media, you might know him, and that's the only way I know him. And I've seen a few matches that he's had, but his history beyond what I've seen in the last 6 months, I don't know about. So I don't. He may have the respect of every fan when they see him in the ring. But I don't think that's big enough for the announcement that Tony made. Now, Tony is known for sometimes over promoting what he delivers. The only thing that he really has delivered on that I can remember in the last year is the Ric Flair, the big guest he was going to have with Sting. That delivered. But I don't think this will it may deliver a rating, but I think the people are going to be let down because I don't think most of the wrestling fans don't know who he is. Now, most of the fans listen to this, they may know who he is, but do we have a choice? Didn't you list an alternate somewhere. I can't remember.
Well, Mercedes Moné was a popular choice.
Now that would be a good one.
Yeah.
More people know her than know Will Ospreay.
Yes, I agree.
See, I think Tony, and I'm not trying to knock Tony. Tony depends on too much of people knowing Japanese wrestling.
Well, he didn't. Well, the fact is that the tweet said virtually every AEW fan knows him. I think that you're confusing AEW fan with wrestling fan, and I think that yes, every AEW fan knows who Will Ospreay is.
How do you know that? Are you just saying that
because he was on AEW's biggest show of all time, All In. He was the hometown guy in London at Wembley Stadium, beat Chris Jericho, the first ever champion. He beat Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door. He's been featured on the product for the last 2 years.
Oh, okay. Well, since you put it that way, I guess they might know who he is. But they probably know who he is a lot more than I do. Because I'm still in the dark about Will Ospreay. So we will see. You're saying Will Ospreay, right?
See, I'm always pitching good ideas for Sportskeeda management. We saw Raju was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still watching, but maybe somebody will listen to this and watch it. I am pitching me and Dutch Mantell watching Will Ospreay matches for a video. A watch.
Hey, that would be good.
Where I make them watch Will Ospreay matches.
I got the setup for it too. There's a chair here, a recliner. You never see our faces. And there's another recliner, and you're in that one. And they're shooting between us a Will Ospreay match. And you're saying, see, that's Will Ospreay. I said, so what? I still don't know him. But he's been here, and he's been there. And I said, I don't give a crap. And then all of a sudden, it just goes right into the screen. But we have to come back the next week and finish that. See, it's how you get an angle over. You just keep going back to it. We've done nothing, but yet the people would say, "What the hell was that?" So I think they would watch back.
One more topic before we get into the rest of the show that kind of relates to this with, like I said, WWE had interest in Will Ospreay. They apparently probably were one of the companies they were negotiating with that New Japan allowed them to negotiate with. But they are also interested in a lot of international talent, and it seems to be kind of like them trying to change their perception of how WWE has treated international talent. And it was reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week that they are interested in Kazuchika Okada, who is the top guy over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was in TNA. I think during the time you were there, he was there, and that kind of ended the relationship between TNA and New Japan because he was there as a young wrestler who they wanted to be groomed on excursion, and they did not treat him well. But he comes back to New Japan, becomes their top star for the last decade, and at 36 years old, WWE is now interested in him, and apparently they're using the whole Shinsuke Nakamura push on Monday Night Raw as a way to kind of show him that, yeah, we're going to treat you well if you decide to sign over here. And this goes along with them also being interested in Julia from Stardom. So what do you think about WWE being interested in all these top international talent?
As long as they treat them well. Hey, wait a minute. I know if they're top talent in New Japan, they need to be treated well. They need to be treated with respect. And then that builds a bond between New Japan and WWE. WWE, they need some friends. They need some help. So, and what was the guy's name that you said that TNA didn't treat well?
Kazuchika Okada. Okada is the.
I know him.
They did not treat him well at all. They gave him that Green Hornet character. Do you remember that? They gave him the Green Hornet where he was the driver from Green Hornet.
Well, I don't remember that, but I think I was already gone. What year was he there?
I think it was it had to be 2010.
I was gone.
He was gone by then?
But I do remember before I left, I said, let me tell you, SOB, something. You better treat that, what's his name?
Okada.
Oh, you better treat that Okada right, or you're going to damn regret it later on. So I want to go on record by saying I gave them fair warning about the guy, and they didn't listen to me.
You did.
That's what I did.
Dutch Mantell, you heard it here first. He tried to warn them. He tried to warn them
I
what
did.
they were doing was a mistake.
Let me ask you something else. Since we're just talking off the cuff here,
yeah,
Vince McMahon is $649 million richer today.
Yes.
He sold his 86,000 shares or whatever he had of stock in TKO.
Yeah.
And made a nice payday. Of course, the $646 million is before taxes and before Linda gets her share of it. But he will probably clear out of that $250 million, which is not a bad payday.
Not at all. Not at all.
So I hope that kind of clears up that Vince is not in WWE creative. But I don't think Vince gets his due justice, because he has come up with some great ideas, and that lasted for years.
A couple of years ago.
What was his greatest idea? I want to ask everybody and see if they agree with me. What was his greatest idea?
His greatest idea? What's Vince's greatest idea? WrestleMania.
Well, that was one, but that's but is something that he created in the wrestling world, and WrestleMania would fit that. I would say a character. What do you say?
Character, his greatest creation I mean the decision to make Roman Reigns into the tribal chief is like the newest one that I would say was like his last great creation. Something that he probably should have done 5 years earlier.
Undertaker.
Well, yeah.
He created,
that's one from 1990, Dutch. I'm talking about
that's his best one, though. Don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
He's still going. He's still going today.
But I'm trying to name something as of late. Like there's only so long you can live on something that was created in 1990. Yeah, it's great that you were that you came up with something that lasts forever. That's great. No, but sometimes you can grow out of that, and you can not be as creatively a genius anymore. And that's what we found out with Vince.
Well, yeah, you can have a great idea, but is your next idea as good as the first one? Mostly of the time, no. So I'm going to say, and you missed my whole question, that was his greatest idea. And they can live on it still. They could still book him today, and he would still draw, because he's an institution. That's what I was saying. Of course, you had a good point. Yeah, that was years ago, but he's still over today. Correct?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just shaking your head now. Yeah, whatever.
No.
Oh, continue.
No, it was one of his greatest creations. I get what you're trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is that was in 1990. That's now 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
The
30-year run.
Like I said, as of late, the only thing that I could say that he did well was allowing Roman Reigns to become the tribal chief.
Okay. That's good. But Undertaker, if you want to compare, Undertaker kind of took off from the beginning because he was so different. It took Roman Reigns a couple of years to get over in that role.
Yeah.
Because
Tribal Chief, it took a couple of months. It took Roman Reigns overall, a couple of years.
He was already into it, so the Tribal Chief is fine. But it's over now. So that's why I think they're not going to make any knee-jerk decisions about Roman, because they remember all the time it took to get him to where they got him. They don't want to knock his legs up under him right now. All right, continue. Let me knock something else.
He's like, let me knock something else. Well, so you know what it looked like. This was the Green Hornet character on the left there for Okada, and then that's Okada on the right. What he became.
Oh yeah, that'd kill him. That's pretty good killing it right now.
Well,
I can say I can say truthfully, I didn't have anything to do with it.
No. All right, well.
I'm pleading nolo contendere, whatever that means.
I tried to blame you, but it's okay. Well,
Oh yeah,
first
they would blame me.
Opening matchup on SmackDown tonight was the Street Profits going up against Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes in a triple threat match to determine the #1 contender for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. I thought this was a really fun match. A lot of these teams, haven't been, given a lot of time in matches, except for like Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes with their last matchup. But this match, you got, everybody was highlighted. All 6 guys worked together very well, and the result was somewhat of a surprise with somewhat of miscommunication between one of the teams as Butch went for the bro kick. Ridge Holland was accidentally hit with it, and then they took out Butch Pretty Deadly, but Street Profits took out Pretty Deadly, and then they hit the revelation on Ridge Holland to win this matchup. When just over 11 minutes in this one, after the matchup, you get Bobby Lashley coming out to celebrate with them, and now the Street Profits will move on to versus the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships on next Friday SmackDown from Chicago, Illinois. We also saw Bobby Lashley talking to B-Fab backstage during this matchup, sowing the seeds for her potentially joining this group as well. But a big win that was much needed for the Street Profits after joining up with Bobby Lashley here. So what did you think about the match and Street Profits moving on to versus Judgment Day next week?
Well, the match was like regular WWE style. It was good. The right team went over because they need to get those Street Profits moving. But it didn't hurt anybody. I don't think it hurt anybody. I don't think it hurt the Brawling Brutes any, because I think the people kind of knew the finish going in, what's going to happen. But nothing like explosive happened in it, and it ended up the way I thought it would. And I think most people that's watched wrestling for a while figured the same thing.
So do you think we're leading to the Brawling Brutes splitting up and maybe Butch going out on his own and becoming Pete Dunne again?
Possibly.
Like a lot of fans want?
They could do it that way because they give us the cornerstone of how it started. And they beat, but who did they beat?
They pinned Holland. They pinned Holland for the win.
Okay, so he ate the pin. So
yeah.
Now there is they can go back and look at it, and yeah, that would be and they could drag that out past this pay-per-view coming up, and then on the other side of it, they could do an angle. You say a lot of fans want Butch to turn babyface.
They want him to go back to being Pete Dunne, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he can do that too, because he was that before. So, and I think if he did it, it please a certain portion of that audience, because the fans are the ones. They decide everything, and I think if they realize that the fans want Pete Dunne back, they'll go back to it. So, but we'll see. That's why we watch wrestling, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Do you get this is something that I've been picking up on for the last couple of months, but I don't know if you've picked up.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, that Triple H loves factions having dissension, because it seems like every faction or tag team has dissension.
Yep, but it gives you somewhere to go.
I understand that, but I would like one of these teams or factions to get along, just to be different from everybody having dissension.
Wait a minute. Okay. Is that what you want?
I just want one.
I'm calling Triple H right now, and I'm telling him. I'm saying, hey, Paul, listen. Sid don't like all the factions arguing, so stop it. Okay? All right.
Just not every single one. Give me one faction that gets along. Just give me one. Just give me one. That's all that.
Give you one?
Not too much that. Just give me one. Just one.
I don't know yet.
We get a video featuring SmackDown GM Nick Aldis and Dragon Lee. Aldis told Lee that he would be facing Axiom from NXT on the show, saying that he wants to showcase him. So he's brought him over from NXT. We get a video introducing Axiom to the crowd. And then we get this matchup. And holy hell, this was like a dynamite matchup with like the Lucha Bros.
Match of the year for TV. Don't you think that what they did?
No,
I mean, I got to watch it.
I thought it was a great match.
That's what I'm saying. It was a great match. All the things they did were so crisp and so good. And I'm usually not a real big fan of, the Lucha Libre style, but these guys, they turned it on tonight.
I kind of got to argue with that, Dutch, because even when we were watching
Rampage,
even when we were watching Rampage, you love the Lucha Bros. You love the Young Bucks. Like, you enjoy. I think that you have slowly but surely, from watching this generation of wrestling, this style of wrestling seems to pop you and you enjoy the most. Like, anytime you praise a match the most, it's usually these matches, ironically.
But look at what they did. I mean, they did moves I've never seen. I mean, and if you wanted me, when I was wrestling, to do one of those moves, I'd say, get the F out of here. I ain't doing that shit, because I could get hurt, But good match, and you didn't really have a good guy, bad guy in this. It was just a wrestling match. And either one of them, I mean, the people watched it not really pulling for one guy or the other. And the right guy won, of course. But really, that was a masterpiece. And they could have put that. They could have put that match together, I bet, in 20 minutes. Because they've worked like that for years and years and years. And once you do that, you know what to do.
They need to keep doing this with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee is basically bringing back like the old like WCW Nitro Cruiserweight bangers that they used to give us in like the middle of the show. He's done it twice with Cedric Alexander. This was better than both of those Cedric matches here.
Oh, yeah.
We get just like, it's just fast-paced action, some high flying. You get Lee with a big missile drop kick as Axiom was on the mat in a corner before the commercial break. Then we come back Axiom.
And how many super kicks did you see?
Oh, there was a bunch of super kicks, and there was some mean super kicks. Like Dragon Lee, basically like was looking like a backdrop in the corner, hits him with a super kick to the head while he was upside down. Then he follows up that with a double stomp as Axiom was hanging in the tree of woe. That was fantastic. We get Axiom. He hits a big springboard moonsault.
Wait a minute, listen. One thing I saw, he put him in the corner and he stood up on his head and waited.
Yeah, that's the super kick. When he rebounded him up and put him back upside down and super kicked him in the face. I was like, oh.
I mean, and I'm nitpicking here, but I'm saying, wait a minute. It looked like he kind of waited for that kick, but it is what it is. But a good match, very good match.
We get Lee lifts up Axiom for a power bomb. Axiom reverses that into a destroyer for a near fall. We get Lee kicks Axiom in the head. He goes to the top. Axiom cuts him off. We get a big Spanish fly from Axiom for a near fall. At that point, the crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." And then Lee finally drops him on his head. Only gets a near fall on that. He gets a big running knee. And then what Road Dogg coined the Operation Dragon gets the win, which is the Destino for us New Japan fans of Tetsuya Naito. The Destino gets the win. This was absolutely spectacular. I thought this was, definitely Dragon Lee's best match since coming to SmackDown.
Yeah, it was a good match. So I want to see how he does when they actually put him in an angle.
I would not mind them calling up Axiom and this being a tag team. Maybe. I wouldn't mind them in the tag team division. I think they would be great in the tag team division.
So you wouldn't mind it? By God, if you're putting your okay on it, I'm okay with it too. Wait a minute.
There you go. Another one you write down for Triple H.
Bring up Axiom right away. Yeah.
Axiom was great tonight. He was great tonight.
Yeah, he was good.
A super chat donation. We got a super chat donation from Cliff Side. Thank you so much for your support. You can do the same, hitting that money sign.
How much was that donation? How much was that donation?
It was $2. $2 donation. There you go.
Cliffside. Come on, man. You can do better than that. Damn, please.
Thank you, Cliffside. He says, do the quality of wrestling shows go down in December? Usually they do. That's usually kind of like a dead time traditionally in wrestling, but there's certain promotions that still deliver big stuff. Like Ring of Honor's always had Final Battle in December. WCW used to have Starrcade. Yes, yeah, ECW used to have shows in December. So I think it's more of like this generation, like the last decade or two, that the quality has gone down in December.
What do you think? And I'll tell you what I think.
Go ahead. Tell them.
Well, okay. December, Christmas, Thanksgiving's just passed. December, Christmas is coming. And the people really have spent a lot of money on Christmas, and they don't have the money to actually go to the shows or take the pay-per-views. So what they do on TV, they just do maintenance. And they don't shoot any big angles or anything. They can. I mean, they can do what they want to do. But I think January is they rearrange everything and get started new after January 1st. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, kind of makes sense there.
And a lot of people, like when I book a couple places. If Christmas come up, I take December off. I'd book it, but whatever. I'll worry about it in January. And it works.
Then we had the aforementioned Santos Escobar segment. Santos Escobar comes out to explain his actions from last week. He's got a nice white suit with a red shirt, and the crowd is booing him, saying he sucks. And he said he comes out and
you think any of that noise was pumped in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They need to turn it down a touch because that was obvious, but
it's a little heavy-handed. And it's the same thing with Dom. Dom, who doesn't need it. They do it for Dom, who doesn't need it. Like, it's ridiculous. We got Escobar, who says that the old saying is true, to never meet your heroes. He says
that's
the crowd. He said he notes that how Rey Mysterio was his hero as the rest of the LWO was watching on from backstage. Escobar says that Rey made him feel at home, but after last week, Escobar said he realized Dominic was right. Escobar says that he deserved to be the United States champion, but instead Rey did. He said he wanted to rebuild the LWO, but Rey took it over and brought in Carlito. Escobar then spoke in Spanish to Carlito, and then he said they were supposed to be a familia, and said that Rey sided with an outsider like Carlito instead of Escobar. Escobar said, all the pain Rey is suffering is like the suffering Escobar felt when Rey betrayed him. Santos said everyone thought he'd go out there to apologize, but he said he would apologize for not doing more damage to Rey. Escobar says that he hoped that the surgery didn't go well for Rey. He hopes Rey gets an infection. He hopes that they have to amputate Rey's leg.
His leg. Oh, yeah.
And then as he's talking, Zelina Vega walks out to no music and confronts Escobar. She puts on another great performance. After last week, she stole the show with her performance after reacting to Escobar turning. She comes out and she says that the only person she hates more than Escobar is herself for ever trusting him, and then slaps the hell out of him. Santos grins, and then as she's walking to the back, visibly crying, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde walk out. Escobar says that he made Wilde and Del Toro. He calls Del Toro Raul, his own name, Raul Mendoza, so a little messed up there. The two walk to the ring, and Santos sticks out his fist, and he says they need to be the family again. And he says the two yell at Escobar, saying that what he did is uncalled for, and then he tells them to leave. They are dead weight anyway. Santos then attacks them from behind, and he says that he made them and he can destroy them. But before he can continue the attack, Carlito comes out to make the save, and Santos escapes through the crowd. And then it's made official for Survivor Series next Saturday. Santos Escobar versus Carlito in a grudge match. Dutch, what did you think about this segment, Santos' performance, and the matchup made for Survivor Series?
Well, I liked it because I'm used to promos in Spanish because I've listened to so many of them. Very well delivered. And he told the story half in English, half in Spanish. Everybody understood it anyway. And then I like when he got to the part about Ray, you lay it in your hospital bed. I hope you don't get better. Hope you get an infection. And it was funny to me. Then she comes out, and then she slaps him, and I was surprised that he didn't do anything to her, snatch her, but he did. It was better the way they did it. And she walks out past the guys. They come in. Then he does his deal, and then Carlitos enters. Very well executed and not overdone. So now we'll see what they do at the pay-per-view.
We shall see. We shall see what goes down. I think it's been well for the first 2 weeks that they've done this. I understand the nature of everything. It's definitely a rush process because they didn't know that Ray injury would worsen the way that it did. That forced him to get surgery. But I think they've done well with these first 2 weeks of this.
They've adjusted well then.
Yeah.
They've adjusted really well. Okay.
Next, we had Grayson Waller versus Cameron Grimes. Nothing much to this one here. Our streak of good TV throughout the show ended here as Grayson Waller gets the win. 2 minutes, 42 seconds. He gets the win with his rolling cutter finisher here. Any thoughts? Austin Theory was on commentary. Yeah,
it's okay. And Grayson Waller, I mean, the Grimes, when he came out there was not a person in that crowd that thought he was going to win. They know what he's there for. And they delivered, and it ended up the way everybody thought it would end up. And
yeah.
And that's maintenance. They just did maintenance on the team of Waller and Grayson Waller. What's the other guy's name?
Austin Theory.
Oh yeah.
Next,
he sent his picture when I was in TNA. He sent his resume to TNA. I was going to book him, but I think he got booked somewhere else because I looked at him. I said, "This kid's got something. He has what they call the it factor, and I think he's got it. And we'll see how far he goes in WWE. But those guys can produce."
We shall see. Next up, we had Solo Sikoa making his return to SmackDown, and Paul Heyman with a prototypical vintage Paul Heyman promo. He comes out
Classic.
And he says there was going to be an acknowledgement of Solo Sikoa. Jimmy Uso was also in the ring. Heyman fired up and introduced the 16-time world champion, the greatest of all time, John Cena, and finished it by saying, "Will not be here tonight."
Is not here tonight.
Heyman says Cena will never appear in a WWE ring ever again, and it's all thanks to Solo. Heyman called out a kid in the front row crying, which has been a running thing all night from anyone who has a microphone, it seems. Heyman said Cena has admiration for all the fans, but he doesn't have the heart to say goodbye to the WWE Universe and the C Nation. Because of that, Heyman said he gets to say goodbye to John Cena and for John Cena. Heyman went on to say, on behalf of the Bloodline, John Cena, goodbye. He teased a cue for John Cena, 3, 2, 1. But Cena never came out. Heyman reiterated the fans will never experience the John Cena thing again, and that was all thanks to Solo.
Okay, at this moment, let me ask you, did you think Cena would come out or not?
No. Not ever.
I didn't either. But you think the fans thought, well, he might come?
Yeah, because he laid it on so thick.
Well done.
I would the fans who are not hasn't watched as much wrestling as me and Dutch Mantell, they would say, yeah, I believe Cena was going to come out. Heyman then says that if Cena ever comes back, Solo Sikoa is going to have to be his opponent. Heyman went on to say to Jimmy and said that it would have been the greatest promo of Cena's career. But Cena won't be able to say goodbye. He won't be able to talk because Solo spiked Cena in the throat. Heyman said no one can see Cena because Cena isn't there. And before Heyman can continue and say it was all because of Solo again, LA Knight's music hits. He says that the only reason Roman Reigns is still champion today, and that's because of the bloodline. Yeah. He says everyone knows that's a problem. Yeah. Knight said if there's a problem, there's only one problem solver, and that's LA Knight. Yeah. Knight said the bloodline will cease to exist because Knight will make that happen. He says that everyone will fall until it's just Knight and Roman, and he's going to take them out one by one. He says the first stop on that path is Jimmy Uso, and he calls Heyman MC Boss Hog, and he raps
Boss Hog?
Boss Hog.
Yeah.
And then he raps a little and says that Jimmy Uso, he's had enough of the drama. He's gonna hit him with the BFT, blunt force trauma. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he says that LA Knight is gonna beat him tonight, and that led into our matchup between LA Knight and Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso took a little bit of the heat after Solo had the advantage. After LA Knight had the advantage early on after Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman got a phone call from Roman Reigns and went to the back. This led to Jimmy.
Now that was lame. That was lame as shit.
Yes.
I gotta take it back here. Okay.
This leads to Jimmy taking a little bit of the heat for about 5 minutes of the matchup. But of course, LA Knight would make his comeback, eventually hitting the BFT to get the victory in this one. This one going less than 10 minutes after the matchup. Solo Sikoa's music hit. He comes out. Him and Jimmy attack a Knight. Solo delivers the Samoan spike to LA, then dismantle the commentary table. They look like they're about to take him out there. But then the music of Cody Rhodes hits, and out comes the Raw star. He comes out and brawls with Solo and Jimmy along with LA Knight, and they stand tall in the ring. And then backstage, we see Nick Aldis talking to Cody Rhodes and removing him from the building because he didn't want him to get involved in SmackDown business. But a lot of interesting stuff in this segment. Cody Rhodes continuing his involvement in the Bloodline storyline. We seem like the wheels is running to WrestleMania already as it comes to Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 2. And we got LA Knight picking up the victory here. What did you think, Dutch?
We're working to WrestleMania 40 with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I would think that if they're ever going to do anything with Cody, he has to capitalize then. The first one, 39, we could work with that. But the 40, I think it's Cody's time. He has to take it. And we'll see what he can do there. And I think by that time, Roman's wanting to go home for a while. He wanted to take a rest. But I've been hearing that. But you don't see him every Friday anyway. So he works about a half schedule anyway, which is fine because it doesn't hurt him at all. It actually might help him if they don't see him so much.
He's only worked 11 matches this year.
So he don't work any house shows?
The 11 matches include 4 house shows.
So the rest of them have been TV?
7 TV pay-per-view matches this year.
Well, he's really working a good schedule. That is really, really good. So he can sit at home and do it. So, but I think that was well done. Tells a story. And we'll see where we go from here. Again, I say that's why everybody watches, because the whole thrust of any kind of angle or the whole show, the whole company can be thrown into limbo off one TV, one greatly produced TV. So all your angles can change overnight. So that's why we watch it.
Indeed, you are correct. That is why we watch it. But that is all that went down on SmackDown this week. Dutch Mantell, Please let the people
Oh,
know.
we had the girls.
What we talked about the girls
At the end of the show. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that at the top of
And
the
that's
show.
Hey, I'm sorry, but you were going in line. See, you went to the end first. You didn't tell me that, and I forgot about it.
I did. I covered everything involving the main story with Damage Control.
Riju, don't believe anything he says. He's lying like hell.
I did that perfectly.
Okay, go ahead.
At an hour, we're perfect on the dot, Dutch. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media and your great YouTube channel with your podcast. 101,000 subscribers.
100. Now that surprised the hell out of me. 101,000 subscribers as of today. And you can find me Storytime with Dutch on the YouTube channel. And we do when do we do where do they see this?
Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge.
I cannot get that straight in my head. But you can see me there. Or if you want to talk to me, or if you want to say anything bad about Sid, and I'll write you right back and agree with it. Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. And also the University of Dutch Caps now on sale. So you can contact me there and I'll tell you how to get those too. Plus I have 2 books. I usually have them here, but they're for sale too. So just keep subscribing, keep listening, and wait, I'm confused. What happened to Rick? Why is he sick?
He got a cold or something. I don't know. He lost his voice, and then he got into an accident. But
he did get into an accident.
Yeah,
that's
we hope he's feeling better. We hope that he is back with us next week.
And where can they find you, Sid?
They can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. That is TRU, no E. That is where you can also find the True Heel Heat YouTube channel over on YouTube. We're not as big as Dutch, but we're at 10,000 subscribers over there. Go over and subscribe. Coming. And yes, we are going live tomorrow for the True Heel Heat flagship podcast at 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and the Real Classic will be joining us to talk all things AEW ahead of AEW Full Gear, but we also talk WWE, Impact Wrestling, ROH, New Japan Pro Wrestling, plus much, much more. So join us over there, the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. But until next Friday, for Dutch Mantell, for Rick Ucchino, I am SP3, and that has been